The first trade for the Royals before the deadline has occurred. We'll dive into what they got and what they gave up next on Locked On Royals.
You are Locked On Royals, your daily Kansas City Royals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are tuned into another edition of Locked On Royals in the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jack Johnson, and you can find me on Twitter at JohnnyJ_15. That is at JOHNYJ_15. You also can catch us on wherever you listen to podcasts. That can be Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, Odyssey, and YouTube. Just be sure to hit the follow button and subscribe. For you first-time listeners wondering how this channel works, I will be bringing you episodes Monday through Friday, 30 minutes in length, as well as 60-second YouTube shorts. As long as they don't have anything going on the weekend, it should be 7 days a week, but you can pretty much always count on them Monday through Friday. If I ever miss one, though, you can always check out the Locked On Royals postcast, which is hosted by Chance Lebo. He goes to you live after each and every Royals game, and that goes into the weekend as well for about 15 to 20 minutes or so. Now, before we get started, I want to tell you that today's show is brought to you by Supply House. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. It worked out kind of perfectly that once again, I did not get an episode up in the morning, but by the time I would have been posting that episode, I would have not been able to go over the news that the Royals made a trade. And that trade was them bringing back old friend Adam Frazier, who, of course, was on the team last year, and sent Cam Devaney over to Pittsburgh after calling him up about a week and a half ago, but he never had a plate appearance for the Royals. He was just there in the clubhouse and there in the dugout during the game. And I can tell you that this trade had quite the reaction, had quite the pushback from pretty much everybody that follows me. Not everybody was up in arms about this deal, but I felt this was the perfect time, really, to have this entire episode dedicated to this move, what it could mean, and if this is the first of many moves to come. So it started off with the trade itself. It was reported by Robert Murray on Twitter that the Royals would be acquiring Adam Frazier from Pittsburgh, and the only player they were sending there was Cam Devaney. So there's no cash included that I know of. There's no player to be named later. This was just a bench player for a bench player. And that's maybe why I'm not as upset on the surface about this deal. I should be very clear that this move isn't a great one. It's also not a bad one. I'm not losing my mind or losing sleep over the Royals trading Cam Devaney for Adam Frazier. Now, I saw the initial pushback was due to Adam Frazier's numbers last year. Why are they reacquiring someone who hit 202 for him and was a scapegoat more often than not for the Royals' offensive struggles in 2024? Cam Devaney was a rookie that never got his chance. He was one of those AAA players that everybody was clamoring for, OPS north of 900. And when the Royals called him up, I truly was excited to see what he had in store, if he could be that late bloomer that maybe gave the Royals a spark. But going into the trade deadline and going into the second half, it's very clear to me that the Royals are trying to get upgrades, even if they are very slight upgrades. Now, maybe you are one of those people that says Adam Frazier is not an upgrade over Cam Devaney, and what Cam Devaney could become is already better than what Adam Frazier is. I will say that the 2025 numbers of Adam Frazier are much better than what he was last year. I don't know if that was comfortability playing in Pittsburgh, but he wasn't playing in a great offense either. That's where maybe I would have pumped the brakes a little bit, because Adam Frazier would be coming from a great offense, a lot of protection, and now he'd be going to a subpar offense. He was playing in a Pittsburgh lineup that just didn't have a lot of firepower in it. So he was still able to hit 255. His batting average is fourth highest on the Royals. His OPS is sixth highest on the Royals. He's hitting 310 with runners on base. He's hitting over 280 with runners in scoring position. And I believe he's also hitting over 280 against power pitchers. So anybody 95 and up, he seems to be seeing them pretty well this year. Also in Pittsburgh, he didn't really play against lefties. I don't know if that'll be the same in Kansas City, but he was predominantly a platoon bat in Pittsburgh, and I'd imagine we'll see more of the same in Kansas City. This was also a clubhouse move, per Andy Rodgers, that he was somebody well-respected, very much enjoyed in the clubhouse last year, and that's not nothing. I know it can be a little bit cheesy where it boosts clubhouse morale. I always go back to 2014, though, not saying Adam Frazier's Raul Ibanez, but they made that move for the clubhouse part of it, not so much of what Raul Ibanez could do offensively. With Adam Frazier, it is an upgrade for the bench, whether you like it or not. Whether you are a big fan of Adam Frazier or not, the Royals bench has been an absolute disaster this year. And even some of their starters for the outfield have been an absolute disaster this year. So I put this out there on Twitter, and I feel I need to highlight it again to prove this point. Now, there have been 7 guys that I call quote-unquote bench guys. They weren't everyday players, though some of them did get everyday at-bats when they were in Kansas City, the exceptions here being Drew Waters and MJ Melendez. Mark Canha on the year has hit .212 with a .272 OBP and a .265 slug. Nick Lofton, though I do give him credit for a really strong finish to the first half, he had a great week. He had 2 walk-off hits. Power was showing a little bit, hitting the ball hard. I feel bad to put him in this conversation, but he is still hitting .198 on the year with a .243 OBP, a .385 slug. Kevin Biggio, before he was sent down, was hitting .174 with a .296 OBP and a .246 slug. John Raves, since being called up, is hitting .176 with a .269 OBP and a .235 slug. MJ Melendez, before he was demoted back in April, was hitting .085 with a .173 OBP and a .170 slug. Tyler Tolbert, again, it pained me to put him in this because he has had his moments this year, but offensively, hitting only .154 with a .214 OBP and a .154 slug. And lastly, Dairon Blanco, in his limited opportunities, is hitting .167 with a .167 OBP and a .333 slug. Just on those numbers alone. I hate to tell the ones that don't like Adam Frazier, but Adam Frazier's their best bench bat they've had all season long. So now let's get to the part of Cam Devaney. Cam Devaney had not had a big league at bat. Maybe he turns into something. Now, the Pirates demoted him to AAA when acquiring him, but I'd imagine that once they trade away Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, they will be making Cam Devaney their everyday shortstop because they're sellers and they're just trying to see what they got in certain players. The Royals also gave an extended look for some of those good AAA number guys. Drew Waters was one of them. I didn't have Drew Waters included in here, so I apologize on that. But Drew Waters, Jack Caglione was another one, AAA numbers guy, though I'm still holding out hope. I'm not saying that he's doomed or anything. I'm just giving you the numbers already on the surface. So Jack Caglione was a big AAA numbers guy. Drew Waters was one. Nick Lofton was one. John Rave was one. Those 4 guys really popped in AAA and had phenomenal numbers. Nick Lofton was getting on base at a 400-plus clip down in AAA. They've combined to hit 185 at the big league level this year. It's not to say Cam Devaney couldn't do better than that, but they have tried it with 4 players. And if you were the type that said, well, he could have been that spark, he might have been that late bloomer, perhaps. However, when I've looked over the last couple of years under J.J. Picollo in players that they've given up, very few times have they let somebody go in this regime because Brent Rooker was 2022, and that was the very tail end of Dayton Moore's time. Brent Rooker is also a little bit different of a player here. Brent Rooker had 67 to 80-ish games under his belt. He had 240-plus plate appearances. The Twins had tried him out. The Padres have tried him out. And then the Royals got him. So it's not that the Royals were the only team that gave up on him. There were 2 other teams prior to that, and he turned into something special. Whit Merrifield's another story, and the Royals held on to him, and he turned into something special. Typically, though, the track record for 28-year-old rookies and 28 or 29-year-old rookies, not very good. And the Royals had to ask themselves a few questions when making this deal. Number 1 being, do you believe that Adam Frazier or Cam Devaney gives you a better chance to win games in 2025? The answer from the front office, I'm not saying it's the right one, it's just the answer they picked. It was Adam Frazier. Based on what he's done, he's hitting .255 with a .310 to .315 OBP. And if he puts up those numbers like he did in Pittsburgh, you've got your best bench bat of the season. And that's more so about how bad the Royals bench has been than how great Adam Frazier's been, which I don't believe he's been very great. He plays a good second base as well. The Royals have had bad second base defense this year. whether it be Jonathan India. Michael Massey, when he's out there, was fine, but his bat was unplayable. This could also mean that the setback for Michael Massey is a little bit longer than we expected. Also with Cam Devaney, he was never really going to play the outfield. His positions were second base, shortstop, and third base. You can't play him there. You got Jonathan India and Bobby Witt Jr. and Michael Garcia playing there every single day. If Cam Devaney was an outfielder, I'd have a harder time believing why this move was made. But Adam Frazier can play the outfield. It's another left-handed bat off the bench. I'm not saying it's going to work perfectly. He could hit 200 like he did last year. I'm just trying to give the reasons as to why they made this move. And for 28-year-old rookies, more often than not, they're not going to amount to much. I mean, if Cam Devaney goes and plays really well in Pittsburgh, I'm really happy for him. You hope that both deals work out for these teams, but also going back to that point of asking themselves the questions, Adam Frazier, or at least they believe Adam Frazier, can give them a better chance to win games in 2025. And number two, are either of these players going to be on the roster next year? And Adam Frazier being a rental, I don't see it happening, although I didn't see him coming back this year. But Cam Devaney as well, he's not going to be on the roster next year, but I don't believe they also had the vision of him being there. And if you don't feel confident that you could recreate a Cam Devaney in AAA, a 28-year-old rookie, then you're just not developing players properly. But that was the big news of today. The Royals make their first trade, and surprise, surprise, it was actually for a rental player. I know I'm going to get 30 to 40 comments on this video, and I would say 95% of them are going to be negative because I know Adam Frazier wasn't a fan favorite last year. I'm just simply reporting some of the facts there. Or I should say simply reporting some of the numbers. I could say that the stats I was providing were facts, but it's for you to interpret what those mean and if you are a believer in this move or if you're not. Let's take our first break of the show. When we come back, we talked about the bench production a little bit, but I'm going to tell you how this lineup might be constructed moving forward. That's coming up on Locked On Royals. You are tuned into Locked On Royals and the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jack Johnson, and you can find me on wherever you listen to your podcast. Want to tell you about Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades. That's Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off on your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. In continuation of our Adam Frazier talk, our Cam Devaney talk, we know that this is a deal that has far more upside, I would say, of the Pirates winning this deal. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, the upside of what Cam Devaney could be might not be able to match what the upside could be for the Royals with Adam Frazier. So that's the negative outlook on it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to protect this move in any way, shape, or form. As I mentioned in the opening part of today's podcast, I don't think it's a great move. I don't think it's a bad move. It's just a shoulder shrug. Yeah, it's a bench bat. It's a bench player for a bench player. And I was one of those people that wanted to see Cam Devaney get a shot. I wasn't sold on him as a prospect. And if you were going to trade somebody to bring in Adam Frazier, I would rather it be someone who's a 28-year-old non-prospect, not even in your top 30, than maybe a 17 or 18-year-old lottery ticket guy that could turn into something. So I'm fine with what they gave up. This also will be touched on a little bit in the final segment. This smells like the first of a few moves the Royals will be making, and why they surprise me with this move. So if you want to maybe turn the frown upside down, for lack of a better term or lack of a better phrase, the Royals would not be acquiring a rental bat if they were going to be selling at the deadline. And maybe you are in the camp if you really want them to sell. If they do sell pieces like a Seth Lugo or a Carlos Estevez or a Michael Lorenzen, though Lorenzen seems really doubtful now because he's hurt. He's got the oblique injury. If they do sell those players, I see them getting big league players in return, or at least big league ready players. This just screams to me, though, that they are trying to make a push in the second half, and they're going to try to upgrade at a few different areas, beginning with the bench. This bench has been unplayable, other than Freddie Fermin. Like the non-catchers, that's what I should have clarified a little bit earlier with those stats. If you're not named Freddie Fermin or Luke Maile, you have put up really bad numbers this year. And that's something the Royals wanted to improve on. Matt Quatraro moves around this lineup a lot. And Adam Frazier is going to get opportunities, whether you like it or not. He is going to play in right field. I'd imagine he'll play some second base. He'll probably play in some left field. And for the time being, in these next 12 games, maybe the Royals make a move tonight. Maybe they make a move tomorrow. Maybe they make one on Friday before they begin that series in Miami. Frazier, though, is going to be taking at bats from who? John Rave? Might be taking at bats from, I'm trying to think of somebody else here off the bench. Mark Canha's hurt, so I can't really say him. I doubt he would be taking at bats from Nick Lofton. And even though against a right-handed pitcher, you might want to squeeze an extra lefty in there, have Rave and Frazier. I just see him taking more at bats from John Rave than I do with Nick Lofton. If you're not okay with that, then I can't really argue. If you're more of a believer in John Rave over Adam Frazier, I'm not really going to sit here and try to convince you why Adam Frazier would be a better option. This is a move, though, that maybe you wish could have happened in the offseason. And Adam Frazier could have hit 255 for you from the start. Because when they got Mark Canha, when they got Kevin Biggio, they clearly were expecting better numbers than what they've given. And Adam Frazier went to Pittsburgh and played a lot better than he did in Kansas City. Is that going to go back to what he was last year? Being on a team that has playoff expectations, or at least is trying to get into the hunt, where Pittsburgh was never really playing for much? Who knows? That's what we're about to find out. But with this bench, until they make another move, I'd imagine that we will see Adam Frazier get more at-bats. They will see a handful of righties in Miami. I'm not sure yet what it's going to be in Chicago. But if Adam Frazier is getting at-bats over John Rave, numbers-wise, stats-wise, that is technically an upgrade. He is a singles hitter, so is John Rave. Does he give you better defense? I would say at second base, but John Rave gives you better defense out there in the outfield. But this also feels, or I said right field, I meant more so left field, because Jack Caglione is going to be in right field if he's playing the field. So if Adam Frazier's out there in left field, it's better than what you're getting from John Rave at the plate. Technically, it's better than what you're getting from Nick Lofton at the plate, but I'm fine Nick Lofton still getting those at-bats until you were to get an everyday player, maybe a bigger name on the trade market. And as I said, we are going to talk about that in the final segment. What it goes like for the bench, though, is you add a left-handed bat. If you are deep into the game and it's a one-run game and you need a left-handed bat off the bench, I'm not really sure who you would have been turning to at this point. For example, I brought up in the first part of today's episode that Adam Frazier has done well against power pitchers this year. He's hitting over 275, 280 against power arms, has struggled against the finesse lefties or the finesse righties. If you got into a spot against, let's say, Cleveland, I'm just throwing them out there because Emmanuel Clase is the front of my mind here. If the Royals are in the bottom of the ninth inning and John Rave's spot, or let's say, I don't want to go Nick Lofton. Again, it's kind of tough to make that pick here. I'm trying to think of a right-handed bat. Let's say there was a defensive replacement earlier on in the game, and Tyler Tolbert's out there. Like, let's say Tyler Tolbert came into pinch run, and then his spot in the order came up, and it's runner at third, one out. The Royals are down by one. Your options off the bench would be a John Rave or Adam Frazier from the left side. I'm imagining that Kyle Isbell will be out there. Let's say Tyler Tolbert was running for Jack Caglione in the seventh inning, and then Tyler Tolbert stayed out there, and then it's a one-run game in the ninth, and you just need somebody to go up there, get a ball airborne, get a ball in play, not worry about the strikeout. I would like to have Adam Frazier in that spot over John Rave. Adam Frazier has been a pinch hitter for the Pirates this year and has actually done pretty well. I even went back and looked at his last 30 games. He's hitting over 270. So those numbers would be fine for the bench. And I understand the bar is not very high. It is a bench that is not produced. Matt Quatrero there likes to go to his bench a lot, though. He loves to pull from the bench and get guys in those favorable spots. Adam Frazier, even a few times last year, came through in those spots. And if this boosts the clubhouse a little bit, I believe that can help them out. If Cam Devaney goes to Pittsburgh and hits 300 to close out the year, we got a different story here. But I'm just not sure where he would have fit in because he was on the bench for 6 games and he never got in. He never had a chance to pinch hit. He never was in the lineup. And there were opportunities, but clearly he couldn't play the outfield. And Adam Frazier does that. And Adam Frazier off the bench, when they acquire a few more players, might be a slight, very minor upgrade. It's not the perfect move. It's not a move that everybody's going to fall in love with. But if Adam Frazier gives you what he's been giving the Pirates this year, that is a nice piece to have off the bench, even if it's playing once every 3 games and the other 2 games he's getting in a pinch hitter's role. Let's take our final break of the show. When we come back, is this the first of many moves to come? I'll give you my opinion next on Locked On Royals. You are tuned into Locked On Royals and the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jack Johnson. You can catch us on wherever you listen to your podcast. Ever wish managing your money felt easier with Monarch Money? It can, whether you're growing your savings or planning on a big purchase. Monarch Money puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off on your first year. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for half off on your first year. And if you're like me, keeping track of your spending, that's where I can go a little bit haywire from time to time. Subscriptions, dining out, or just going and buying something I really don't need. I want to make sure I've got a hold on all of my accounts, what I'm putting my money toward. And I want to make sure that come each paycheck, I'm not running really low on money. And Monarch Money certainly helps me do that. Is the Adam Frazier move the move that gets everything started? I wasn't anticipating the Royals to be that team to make a deal over the deadline or over the All-Star break, before the deadline. But here we are. And Adam Frazier is going to join the team in Miami. I'm sure he's already gotten to the team at some point, whether it be back in Kansas City and he's awaiting the flight for Miami, or maybe they're already there in Miami. I'm not really sure. I'd imagine they're already back in Kansas City, though. This is a move, though, that screams to me, we are going to make a few more. Because this would not make any sense whatsoever if the Royals acquired Adam Frazier and he's the big fish. If he's the guy they said, that's what we were missing. Technically, he's a corner outfield bat, and now we're going to roll with what we got. This feels like we're going to get a rental bat because we want to upgrade the bench a little bit, but we're still going to be going out there and getting 2 more bats, another pitcher, maybe a bullpen arm. I have a lot of confidence that at least 2 more moves will be made. I'd imagine they are looking for an everyday left fielder and someone that can be on the roster next year and maybe even the year after that. I have growing confidence that they are going to add a starter by July 31st. And it's still TBD if I think they're going to add a bullpen arm, because do you think you're getting Hunter Harvey back at this point? Are you going to count on everybody staying healthy the rest of the way? Daniel Lynch is on the IL. Are you looking for another left-hander? All of those things are starting to spin in my brain. But the Adam Frazier move is not one you make if you're still on the fence about what you want to do, which leads me to believe that they're going to want to make some of these moves before you get into the heart of these next 12 games. Like if you make this deal for Adam Frazier and you say, well, we're still going to go out there and get our guys on July 31st. When everybody's making those moves, that's when we're going to strike again. Well, you just don't really know what your record's going to look like then. In a perfect world, you play 500 ball or better, and then you're 500 or slightly above that at the deadline. And if you are that, then it's a no-brainer. You are buying, you're trying to add these pieces, and it all matches up just fine. You want to play well, though, in the 12 games, because on the off chance you don't, and you go 2-10 or 4-8 in these next 12 games, it's going to be tough when you're 6.5, 7 games back to go out there and acquire these players and then try to make the second half push, which really, it's not much of a second half. There's 65 games to go here. So that's, 16 games into being halfway through. And if you can strike a deal going into this Miami series or maybe in the Chicago series, now you've got my attention a little bit more. It just has changed my perception of what they're going to do. And I want to say it was last week or maybe it was earlier this week. I had 1% to 2% confidence they were going to get a rental player. Because for a team that is on the fence in terms of the wild card race, being 3 games under 500, rental players do not fit that mold of what you're looking for. It can, though, if you're expecting to add a few more pieces before the July 31st deadline. And that's why this move, where you upgrade your bench a little bit and give away a 28-year-old rookie, it's setting you up to still acquire the players you might really want. Is that Adolis Garcia, who we talked about yesterday? Is that a Cedric Mullins in Baltimore? Is that a Taylor Ward? Is that a Joe Adele? Is that a Jesus Sanchez, an Alex Call in Washington? Whatever the case may be, this is maybe the first domino. And we've seen J.J. Picollo be transactional before and be aggressive before. And this is the move that you're trying to better your 2025 squad. The next moves, I expect them to try and better the 2025 squad, but also put a focus on 2026, 2027, and beyond that. If you can find a way to acquire a starter, a swingman, a number 5. We brought up the name Jeffrey Springs, and we'll probably talk about him a little bit more tomorrow because I still want to get to those trade targets. That's a name that I want to say is still under control or under contract for another year. That could make sense to keep in your rotation, even though it would be overloaded with lefties. If you're looking for a bat, there are numerous guys that make sense and are under contract and would upgrade your lineup. This deadline should be about acquiring league average bats or slightly above that and giving your rotation depth. And I know it's not going to be the most popular take because I know there are people in the comments that want to sell. They don't believe in this team. They don't think a second half is coming. And that's fine. I can absolutely see the logic in selling because this team might not make it. And even if they do, they don't scream World Series team unless they got incredibly lucky. Like even the Tigers, who probably at one point thought in that second half stretch, that tear they had, they could win the World Series, they fell short in the ALDS and they fell short to Cleveland. But the Royals might feel that if they add the right amount of offensive help and they can get some starting pitching depth, they've got a run like that in them. Those are the 2 boxes, though, they need to check off. And Adam Frazier really isn't one of them. He's like one of the really tiny boxes that you don't even read before you check off. It's like, oh, upgrade the bench, upgrade it, the pinch hitter role. Sure, you've done that. But now this is about acquiring impact players. And if you can get it done, what are you willing to give up? Are you willing to give up Blake Mitchell or Ramon Ramirez? Are you willing to give up somebody in your top 10 to get your left fielder for the now and the next year? Those are all things they're going to have to contemplate over these next 2 weeks. And I'm excited for one, because I can tell you that I know moves are going to be happening. And that's not a genius thing to say. It's just, are they going to be buyers or are they going to be sellers? And I'm absolutely now 85 to 90% confident they're going to be buying, whether we all like it or not. Because you don't acquire Adam Frazier with the hopes of, well, if we bring him in now, we can re-sign him next year. No, Adam Frazier is going to be a minor league deal guy next year. Even if he plays well enough, I don't see him landing another big league contract in the offseason of 2025 going into 2026. But if Adam Frazier can do what he did in Pittsburgh, and you acquire an everyday left fielder that can be a league average bat, and Jack Caglione can be a league average bat for 65 games, and you can get a swing starter, and you can get Cole Reagans back. I'm saying all these if things. They're possibilities. I don't know if it's going to work out, but they're going to be in the hunt by the end of September and maybe holding one of those playoff spots. That might be the optimist in me, but I do believe that this is one move of more than a few that's going to happen. And if I didn't believe that, I'm not sure I would publicly say that, and I'll admit when I'm wrong. If Adam Frazier is the number one move they make by the afternoon or the late afternoon on July 31st, then I will make fun of myself. I will eat my own words there and just say how wrong I was. I just feel that this is one of 2 to 3, maybe even 4 moves that will be made before July 31st. What did you make of the Adam Frazier deal? I'm sure that will go over well in the comments, but always feel free to let me know what you think there and let me know what you think on Twitter. Well, that'll do it for another edition of Locked On Royals and the Locked On Podcast Network. I have been your host, Jack Johnson. Thank you for making Locked On Royals your first listen today. For your second, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale and find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about another trade target the Royals could be looking into, and maybe get into our series preview of the Marlins. Baseball will finally feel back. It feels like it's been forever since we've seen the Royals play, though it's only been a few days, but you can count on that tomorrow. Until then, you take it easy, Kansas City.